The man who made a somewhat controversial move from Bologna, who he guided to an historic Champions League finish last season, to Juventus, also back in the Champions League this year. He finished just 3 points ahead of Motta's Bologna last season. We're about to go underway here. Referee this evening is Antonio Tchatchoua. He's in red. Hellas Verona in their home strip of all navy blue with yellow trim and yellow pinstripes. Juventus also rocking some yellow this evening. Their new away strip, which, as we get underway here, they get us underway kicking left to right, which, if any of you remember the infamous Newcastle banana strip of around 15 years ago, was given little vibes of that, although flecks of navy blue, white and pink in this all-yellow strip for Juve. So we're underway here. We'll say Juve kicking left to right, and Manuel Locatelli immediately sends the ball down the wing for the Belgian Samuel Bangura, who's burst onto the scene on his first team debut last weekend, scoring the opening goal in that victory over Como. He's back now with his captain, the centre half Federico Gatti. We'll see this Juventus side looking youthful. That's perhaps a good sign for fans of the old lady, although they will be concerned with the injury to their American star Tim Weah and their new signing Kefren Turan, who joined his brother Marcus in Serie A. Of course, Marcus had a wonderful debut season, winning the title with Inter. Here's the ball now to Juan Cabal, making his return through the Bentegodi. They've only spent the last 2 seasons here with Hellas Verona. He made the move to Turin, and as so often happens, he's thrust back into his old stomping ground very early. There's a ball down the line now looking for Livramento, the Cape Verde international. He opened the scoring against Napoli last weekend before Mosquera signed, sealed and delivered that victory. A wonderful start to their Serie A campaign, although Hellas are already out of the Coppa Italia at the first stage, defeated by Serie B newcomer Cesena 2-1 here a couple of weekends ago, which, well, that's indicative of how their season went last year. They did end up coming 13th, but such was the tight battle at the bottom of Serie A that they only finished 3 points ahead of eventual relegated side Frosinone. We're hoping that the former Venezia and Empoli manager Paolo Zanetti can pull them away as they win a throw in on the left hand side. The captain, the Serbian Darko Lazovic, will take it back to Magnani, who can play as a centre half but operating seemingly as a left back this evening, with those two in the middle sticking with Dawidowicz and Coppola. Intercepted there by Bremer. He sends it up the left flank for Juventus. Now it's brought down in the midfield by Andrea Cambiaso, pushed forward in the midfield after playing and scoring from right back last week. As I mentioned, young 19-year-old Nicolo Savona is at right back this evening. Duda, who sprays that one out onto the right flank there for Tchatchoua, the Cameroonian. And there's again with ball at feet. Cleared away by Juventus. Out for throwing on the right hand side at this the Stadion Marcantonoi Bentegodi, a very traditional looking Italian stadium, very similar to Napoli's Stadio Diego Armando Maradona. Now here comes Hellas Verona coming forward there with Belahyane, the French midfielder, but he's robbed. But Duda back in there is going to be too long into the gloves of Di Gregorio. All green this evening. He appears to have won himself the number 1 spot. Wojciech Szczesny longer at the club, ahead of Mattia Peran and Solio. Monza goalkeeper in his first season in the top flight last year. There's a ball defeat of Locatelli in the centre circle. Given away, but one back again here. Kenan Yildiz, the young Turkish international. Savona running ahead of Cambiasso, but he chooses to go it alone. Andrea Cambiasso. Still trying to fight off Belahyane, and he can't. And away comes Livramento now for Verona, being hassled there by Gatti. Free kick wanted, but not coming. So Livramento continues to run to the left. He's getting to the byline here, still going. Livramento still going. And he manages to get it across, but well dealt with there by Fagioli, and has rebounded off of Tomas Suslov there for a throw-in on the right-hand side for Juventus, which gets a thumbs up from the suited and booted Thiago Motta. Savona prepares to take this throw-in. He made his competitive debut off the bench at half-time last week for a 19-year-old. There's Vlahovic, lovely pass on the turn. That's going to invite Juventus to get forward here with Pawel, the former Verona man. Spreads it out right to Cambiasso on the right flank, back in field. For Fagioli, man on as Livramento comes behind him, but we'll roll it back to Locatelli, who goes back to Gatti. Federico Gatti. So Bremer, now back out to Cabal on the left flank on the halfway line. Gatti again on the ball. The right flank again there for Dawidowicz. Flank one, Cabal with ball in hand. Goes into Fagioli, but he's immediately robbed there by Livramento. And gives it straight back to Cabal. Fagioli now. This layoff by Cambiasso. Getting Bangula involved really for the first time today. Now Bremer out on the right flank for Savona. Back in field to Locatelli. Into with Cambiasso into the centre circle now. Locatelli rolls it laterally there to Bremer. Cabal now on the left flank. Come on, Cabal. Bremer back to Gatti, the captain. Juventus just hoping to roll the ball around here. And on the left flank again for Cabal. And a bit of a loose pass there from Fagioli, almost invited Mosquera forward, but dealt with by Bremer. Now Gatti will start again from the edge of his own box. We're approaching 10 minutes here now at the Stadion Marcantonoi Bentegodi, and it's still Hellas Verona 0, Juventus 0. It's been largely Juventus with the ball, not much by way of goal scoring opportunities, but Cambiasso now around 30 yards, goes backwards to Locatelli. Cabal, left corner of the penalty area, back to infield to Fagioli. Oh, nice flick from Cambiasso, but nobody in yellow was reading him there. Both Bangula and Yildiz were on their heels. It was a lovely flick from Andrea Cambiasso, just not on the same wavelength as his teammates on that occasion. And it's at the feet of Pawel Dawidowicz, the Polish centre-half, a real Eastern European flavour to Paolo Zanetti's team. They've got him, this is the two Slovakians, Ondrej, Duda and Tomas Suslov, as well as their Serbian captain Darko Lazovic. Here's Livramento, who looks for Duda, but well read there by Yildiz, but it'll break for Suslov. Here's Tchatchoua, forward down the right flank, back in field at Duda, midway inside the Juventus half. Duda to Belahyane. Dawidowicz. Suslov back to Duda. Verona, nice build-up play, nice touch there from Suslov into Mosquera, but it's given away. But in Bangula overruns it, and back again come Verona. Belahyane midway inside the Juventus half, rolls it laterally out onto the left flank to Giangiacomo Magnani. Not really too fussed about going forward there, the Verona left back. Perhaps that's one of the issues of having a centre half by trade playing at left back, but his crossfield pass there is poor, well read by Cabal, and now Juventus are back in possession here. Vlahovic has to get things going. Nice touch by Yildiz, but he's can shake off Suslov. But here's Cabal now on the left flank for Juve. Locatelli, both sides doing comfortable on the ball when they have it, but not really pressing the opposition goalkeeper as it stands. There's Fagioli, nice turning away from two dark blue shirts, but good work to win it back there from Duda. And now here's Mosquera. He's the furthest man forward though for Verona in the centre circle. He's getting bodies ahead of him now, but he loses the ball. That's poor. Cambiasso now into the Verona half, a little bit scrappy though, and Belahyane robs it back off. And now here's Duda, the energetic Slovakian midfielder, has his countryman Suslov to his right, but he'll see instead Jackson Tchatchoua down the right flank and line of the 18-yard box cross, blocked by his former teammate Cabal. Tchatchoua, I think, was going to try and let that one run for a throw-in, but didn't want to do it, so he has to play it. Now Dawidowicz. Tchatchoua in line with the edge of the 18-yard box, back to Pawel Dawidowicz here. And we're just a walking pace already. Here's Duda, laterally to Belahyane. Go to Magnani. To Belahyane, but they're going backwards here, and not really being forced to either. Juventus wouldn't say they've got the harshest of press here, but that's Verona now coming forward. Tchatchoua, good pace now, a bit of life into this game. Onto the right flank is Suslov, right hand side of the penalty area now. Suslov cross in, loops up with a deflection. Di Gregorio does a good job of holding on to that one. That could have been nasty, but Michele Di Gregorio holds on to it, and really that's the first time either keeper has been overly troubled, and you wouldn't even call that a shot. It was a deflected cross that, well, the loop on it could have made it dangerous, but not so. Oh no, there's a ball nowhere in there for Livramento. Good tackle by Bremer. Mosquera with a shot. Good block by Bremer, and it spins wickedly off the Brazilian and out for a corner. And Daniel Mosquera Well, a chance there really out of nothing. A lovely pass it was from Duda into Livramento. Bremer with the initial tackle, but he lost the ball. And Mosquera with the strike, which was well blocked by Juve's Brazilian centre half, and the English in the ball takes it out for a corner kick, first of the game for Hellas Verona. What can they do from it? Big men are up from the back here. A right-footed outswinger here. First of all, Tchatchoua is not happy with. It's Nicolo Savona in there, and with Diego Coppola, and standing in the 6-yard box. And comes the corner kick. Oh, it's dreadful. Volley clear at the front post by Vlahovic. That's a dreadful corner there from Tomas Suslov, who holds up an apologetic hand and retrieves the ball to take the throw in, but he'll leave it for his right back, Tchatchoua. There's Verona now back on the halfway line, but they'll come down the right flank here now. Good challenge over in Bangula, but Locatelli has to beat Tchatchoua to it. Does so, but forces Bremer to clear from his own goal line, but lovely flick there from Bangula. And now here come Juve on the break. Cambiasso now over halfway. The navy shirts outnumber the yellow at the minute, but here come Juve. He's got numbers streaming for him. Bangula on the left flank, midway inside the Verona half. Back to Cambiasso, still on that left hand side. And he goes back even further to Cabal, and now Locatelli on the halfway line. And Savona now back to Gatti, and we've played just over a quarter of an hour here in Verona. Goalless between Hellas Verona and Juventus here. You're listening to Mark Strange live on Flash Score UK, the final fixture of match day 2 in the 2024-25 Serie season. Neither side really doing enough to test either goalkeeper so far. A game earlier this evening, finishing 1-1 between Cagliari and Como. Here's where he's going to roll the ball around in midfield. Fagioli on the left flank for Bangula, faced up by Tchatchoua, so he'll go back inside to Locatelli. He scoops one out there, nice touch from Cambiasso, brings it down the edge of the box. Cambiasso back to Yildiz, now on the left flank again, left corner penalty out from Bangula. Locatelli has space to shoot, he does, he curls one, oh good save, first real save of the night, and it's a good one from Lorenzo Montipo here to tip that curling effort from Manuel Locatelli on the edge of the box wide. He had said he had space to shoot, and shoot he did, and that is a superb save from Lorenzo Montipo. Not the most powerful shot in the world from Locatelli, but it was high up into the corner, and the Hellas Verona goalkeeper had to fly through the air to tip it over. Now it's going to be a right foot right swinging corner from the 19-year-old Turkish international Kenan Yildiz. It's a very crowded looking penalty area, especially around the centre spot. Sorry, the penalty spot, should I say, and the referee again, Antonio Jua, just in there making sure there's nothing untoward going on. Yildiz is going to be made to wait as Paolo Zanetti looks poised on the sideline as if he's ready to take the corner. In it comes from Yildiz, goes to the back post, the blue shirt defender on the ground is Duda, nothing doing though, it's cleared though. And it comes to Savona, who will deliver with his left foot, it's high and looping, Gatti wins the header, it's not away yet, oh it's still bobbing around in there, and oh Juventus now goes to ground as Cabal, and it was a free kick out. The referee blew his whistle, but it's actually a foul by Juan Cabal. He fell over as he went in to get it. Not the best cross in the world from Savona, but Gatti made something of it with the header. And I think it's actually a push against Vlahovic in the first place. Gatti won the first header, and Vlahovic put his hands into Ondrej Duda's back before Cabal and Jackson Tchatchoua came together and nobody get a shot away. But there you are, just before the 20-minute mark, the first real effort on goal and sustained a bit of pressure there from Juventus, but alas, Verona survive on this occasion. Elsewhere this weekend in the round 2 of Serie, Udinese 2, Lazio 1. Milan falling to a poor defeat on Saturday, 2-1 against Parma. Monza 0, Genoa 1, Inter 2, Lecce 0. Then yesterday, Torino 2, Atalanta 1, Fiorentina 0, Venezia 0. Napoli back on track with a 3-0 win against Thiago Motta's former side Bologna. And then Roma falling to a 2-1 defeat at home to Empoli last night. And I mentioned Cagliari and Como 1-1. So some surprise results early in the season, especially on match day 2. There's Vlahovic into the box now for Juve. He tries to cut it back, well read though by Pawel Dawidowicz, and is out for a throw-in. Juventus on the left-hand side, midway inside the Verona half. 20 minutes gone here, listening to Serie action live on Flash for UK this Monday evening. Thanks for joining me wherever you are. This one hasn't really come to life just yet. It's Hellas Verona 0, Juventus 0. Manuel Locatelli with a curling effort from range that was well tipped over by Lorenzo Montipo. But other than that, we have had slim pickings in terms of goal-mouth action. Here is Juventus now with Fagioli on the right flank, back to his captain Federico Gatti, Bremer in the centre circle out on the left flank for Cabal. Good challenge on him by Suslov, and it's a throw in just on the left hand side on the halfway line. Cabal will take his ball in hand and back now with Gatti inside his own half, looking for options ahead of him. Has Locatelli, uses them in the centre circle. Now Cabal in space on that left hand side. Forward to Yildiz on the left flank. Kenan Yildiz. Oh, good footwork from the young Turk, and he's into the box here. Yildiz still going. Yildiz hits one. Good block there by Belahyane. And come back to Cabal on the left hand side, approaching the corner of the penalty area. Good block by Duda, but it'll come down for Yildiz. Locatelli. Mbangula on the left flank, in line with the edge of the 18-yard box. Locatelli back to Gatti on halfway. He eats up some space in front of him and gives it to Savona, who immediately goes back to Fagioli. Now Locatelli on the left flank for Mbangula, who traps the ball well midway inside the Verona half, but he's not allowed any forward motion by Jackson Tchatchoua. Pass there though from Locatelli to Fagioli, and he'll go towards the box. And the left flank for Yildiz. Ball in from Locatelli in the back post. Vlahovic flicks on, that's it, 1-0. Savona, if he stayed on side, but he hasn't. Oh, Nicolo Savona thought he had his first Juventus goal. There's an offside flag up though. I don't know if it's against him or Vlahovic, we'll see now. Yeah, well, it's quite clearly against him, and I think he knew it straight away. It's a lovely ball in though from Locatelli, and the flick on from Vlahovic. Savona, who just got a little carried away, and he was, well, you could have drove a bus between him and the last defender in the end. It was a good clean finish from the youngster, but maybe just, as I said, only made his debut off the bench last weekend. As his first start for the senior team after impressing for the Juve next gen side in the third tier last season. But he's not a natural goal scorer for a start. He finished it well, but his run poorly missed time. That looks like a push from Mosquera on Gatti. It is, despite Livramento's frustration at stopping his forward motion. The big Colombian forward, a big lad, and he's got some pace. Daniel Mosquera, he's going to give some teams some trouble. And we're getting a hydration break here on 24 minutes. It's still a hot evening here in Verona. We'll give both managers a chance to get some tactical instructions onto their side. Verona up in the northwest of Italy, but much of Europe still experiencing some late summer heat. We may well see these cooling breaks continue for a while before we get into midwinter. As we get another look here at Savona. His initial run is timed very well, actually. But he just continued his run too far. And when Vlahovic wins the flick on from Locatelli's ball, as I said, he could have driven a bus between him and the last defender, but more positive forward motion from Juventus. After that effort from Locatelli, Verona really yet to get going. The club who were formed in 1903 by Greek students here in the city. Hence the Hellas prefix. We've got a fairly sizable travelling support from Turin this evening. As always, Juve well supported. Get another look at that rather fetching change strip they have tonight. A light yellow, almost banana yellow shirt with dark blue and pink trim. Yellow shorts with pink trim and yellow socks with a dark blue trim on it. So a bit of white down the side as well. So it's a real mishmash of colours. And for the senses, there's Hellas Verona with a smart looking dark blue, old dark blue outfit with yellow collar and yellow pinstripes on the shirt. We're back underway here with Juventus on the ball with Savona on the right hand side, midway inside his own half. Looks for Vlahovic, but well dealt with by Coppola. An inadvertently good touch from Savona, puts it back into the feet of Fagioli and now Gatti. Here's in Bangula. Quiet opening 25 minutes or so, but now he's away down the left hand side. This is where he's dangerous. He stretches the legs. Good work though from Tchatchoua. And who'd that ball come off last? It's going to be a Juventus throw in, but good defensive work there from the Cameroonian Jackson Tchatchoua. And in fact, he's going to get the throw after all, so even better. But you need to be careful not to let Samuel Mbangula stretch those legs, but if anyone's able to cope within this Verona side, it'll be Tchatchoua, showing his pace there. And some good defensive work as he wins the throw, which will be sent long down the line by Dawidowicz to Tchatchoua. Ball up into the air though and nodded out from Cabal. Tchatchoua to Duda. Nice link-up play between the two. Duda is robbed there. He thinks he's fouled, but nothing doing. Here's Yildiz line for Vlahovic. He's outnumbered, but he's finished as well. Duan Vlahovic makes a 1-0 to Juventus. Verona agree. They think there was a foul there in the build-up. But Duan Vlahovic was doing what all good strikers do. Put it in the back of the net and ask the questions later. It was super work from Nicolo Fagioli to set him up in the end. And even though he was outnumbered 3-1 by dark blue shirts, the big Serbian does what he does so well and finishes with aplomb. It was Ondrej Duda who was robbed by Manuel Locatelli. The ball broke for Fagioli and he played a lovely defence-splitting pass to Duan Vlahovic, who ended up on the ground with three. Apologies, Kenan Yildiz actually with the pass. Apologies to Nicolo Fagioli. But a lovely left-footed, side-footed finish from Vlahovic, despite, as I said, having looks like Coppola, Magnani and Belahyane in there with him, but he finishes with aplomb. And it is Hellas Verona 0, Juventus 1. Duan Vlahovic was his first goal of the season on match day 2. It didn't take him long to get involved. He might have missed out last week, but he is on the score sheet this evening. And there is going to be a VAR check here. I assume it's for the challenge I mentioned. Now it's been given very quickly. The referee didn't even have to go to the video, to the TV screen, despite Ondrej Duda's amazement. Antonio Chua is advised by his VAR team that is indeed a good goal. And just before the half-hour mark, Juventus have the lead. Hellas Verona 0, Juventus 1. Duda Vlahovic with the goal. And we haven't really seen much from Paolo Zanetti's men going forward. They're going to have to now if they want to take anything from this game. Immediately going the attack. That's going to be too long from Mosquera, is it? Well, good work from Suslov. Made Locatelli play it, and now it's back at the feet of the Colombian Daniel Mosquera, who's then followed into the corner by Fagioli and Locatelli, and is squeezed out well by the two midfielders. And Juventus come away, and Yildiz will win the throw-in off of Suslov. So, Hellas Verona certainly feeling aggrieved by the goal. Ondrej Duda robbed by Manuel Locatelli, and then Kenan Yildiz, the man on the ball now on halfway, slipping in Duda Vlahovic with a plum. And he finished clinically, despite being outnumbered 3-1 by Verona defenders. There's Savona, who bumps into Livramento and wins it back. So Juventus certainly winning the physical battle so far in this game. It's back with Cabal in the left-back position, midway inside his own half. Locatelli. Gatti back to Di Gregorio, who has been very well untroubled so far. As Gatti was fouled there by Dailon Livramento, the Cape Verde international. Can he and Mosquera come up with the goods again this evening? Cabal back into Bremer, midway inside his own half, the Brazilian. Lovely flick on there from Fagioli to Cambiasso, who's going to try and send him Bangula away. He's fast, but the ball's faster and just beats him to the touchline. You see it again there. Yeah, I think that as Verona might have every right to be a little bit miffed. That one, it's a fairly physical challenge from Manuel Locatelli, but nothing doing. Here they come now, boys in blue. Throw on the left hand side, midway inside the Juventus half with Darko Lazovic. He goes back to Magnani. Coppola now to Dawidowicz. We'll spread along the back line. Tchatchoua midway inside the Juventus half on the right flank. Back with Dawidowicz. There's Belahyane on the left flank there for Magnani. Good block though by Ondrej Cambiasso, who is providing ample cover around that right for young Nicolo Savona, who has had a decent game so far. Lazovic with a throw in now, around 15 yards from the byline, goes back to Belahyane. Good strong challenge over Nicolo Fagioli. And it's away, it's not a great clearance in the end from Savona, but it'll do. It's out of play down the right hand side. Lazovic chested back to him by Livramento from the throw-in. Darko Lazovic tries to cut in field and does, gets past Savona, gets to the byline, the ball goes behind. Who did it come off last? Yeah, it's a goal kick according to the linesman. So Nicolo Savona in the end does a good job of sticking with his man. It's a goal kick for Juve. Gregorio booms it long as a massive kick. That's straight down the throat of Coppola, who heads it straight back, but picked up by Fagioli and now Gatti midway inside his own half. Bremer. Nice work there, that's really nice. Oh, good challenge there by Mbangula. No, it's not. Foul on Belahyane on the halfway line in the centre circle. Antonio Giu, who is also not happy with Andrea Cambiasso trying to slow things down, but we're back underway regardless. There's Dawidowicz to Duda. Good work from Belahyane trying to lose two yellow-shirted defenders. So he did Tchatchoua. Good challenge on him though by Cabal. And Juventus are back in possession here. 10 minutes plus stoppage time at the end of the first half. Kenan Yildiz, or sorry, Fagioli wasn't reading that one well. Livramento robs him, and then he brings down Ondrej Duda. Not a good couple of seconds there for Nicolo Fagioli. Didn't read the pass coming his way, and then in an attempt to rescue the situation, had hands all over Ondrej Duda, and that's a free kick on the edge of the box. The only way blessing here for Juventus is from that range, and as we have a cliche where it's hard to get the ball up and back down again. So trouble the goalkeeper, but we'll see here on 35 minutes what Hellas Verona can do. They haven't really had a chance to trouble Michele Di Gregorio. Andrea Cambiasso stands beside the two Hellas Verona players, trying to earwig him what he can hear. But the irony is, I don't think they'll be speaking Italian. It's the two Slovakians, Tomas Suslov and Ondrej Duda, who are over this one. So you would imagine they are conversing in their mother tongue here. Just on the edge of the D, maybe a couple of yards back from the D. Central, Kenan Yildiz lying down, shielding the back of his head as the draft excluder in a four-man Juventus wall, with an extension piece built on by two Hellas Verona attackers. Now, what we do here is Duda and Suslov. The right foot of Duda, the left foot of Suslov. Who's going to hit it? So Suslov hits it low and hard, it deflects, and it's going to go for a corner. It is. The spin will take it away from the Juventus player. And in fact, it's a goal kick. It must have come off that extension piece I was talking about. And Tomas Suslov looking disappointed there with himself. Not a great effort. And the free kick comes to naught there for Hellas Verona. So Di Gregorio remains unchallenged. Duda Vlahovic's goal. The difference between the sides here, with just under 10 minutes plus stoppage time left until half time here at the Stadion Marcantonoi Bentegodi. Coppola wins a good header though over Vlahovic, hooked back forward by Suslov, but well read by Cabal, and he's brought down by Suslov. That'll be our first caution. It was a high-speed collision between the two. And Antonio Giu decides not to caution Suslov there, but he's lucky because he wasn't really close to the ball and he knew it straight away. Perhaps if that was a little bit more in the attacking third for Juventus, it would have been more trouble for Suslov, but as it is, it's a free kick to Juve. Midway inside the Hellas Verona half, left of centre, which Locatelli will take, and there's it backwards to Gatti in the centre circle. We'll go laterally to Bremer, and two with Cabal. Bremer, nice pass there to Vlahovic. That's a dreadful ball, not who she is looking for, but Dailon Livramento got himself a little bit carried away there, and don't know whether that was a pass or one for him to knock ahead and try and chase it, but whatever it was far too long. And it's out for a throw in on the right hand side for Nicolo Savona to take in front of his manager. And it says manager will be impressed with what he's seen from the youngster so far. Had the ball in the back of the net, but of course it was a long way offside. Tchatchoua now into Duda on the halfway line. Now here's back on the left flank there with Magnani. That's Verona rolling it round the back. Dawidowicz. They've been dominating possession though, but without really giving Juve too much to think about. Locatelli now robs the ball in midfield. Cambiasso, good trap there by him. Now it's down the left hand side. Mbangani to the back post, and a header one of Vlahovic on the line. Has it gone in? It has. I have no idea who that came off last. It might be Savona. I think he is claiming it. And after having a goal ruled out earlier, the youngster does get his goal from right back. He will surely score prettier ones in his career, but you only score your first goal once, and he is delighted. So are his teammates. A looping header at the back post. Vlahovic, I think, maybe tried to steal it on him, but he didn't have to. The ball crosses the line, and it's 2-0 to Juventus. A wonderfully fast counter-attack. It's Mbangula's ball into the back post. Savona arrives. He's falling as he goes to head it, and I think the presence of Vlahovic stops Coppola from clearing it off the line, and it just bounces in. Coppola nearly kicks the post as he tries to clear it. Mbangula's ball over the head of Vlahovic, over the head of Magnani. Savona, the right back. Fair play to him for getting that far forward. Did Vlahovic maybe even get a nick on it? I don't know. I think Savona is going to want to try and claim it anyway. It's hard to tell. Certainly the youngster is claiming it. We shall see if that remains to be the case, but what we do know for certain is that we're just over 5 minutes before half time. So the official Serie graphic here is giving it to him. Just under 5 minutes until half time. It's Hellas Verona 0, Juventus 2. And we're back underway here. And Juve firmly in the driving seat, just as I was saying. Hellas Verona had more of the ball, but very little threatening. That's what Juventus can do. And so far under Thiago Motta, they're proving themselves to be fairly free scoring while being solid at the back. I've really put the jinx on them now, but it's 2-0 Juventus, 5 minutes to the break. Good block by Ondrej Cambiasso, and he celebrates that one as if he's just scored a goal, which Darko Lazovic doesn't take too kindly to. That's a little bit of mind games there between those two, but throw in taken by Lazovic, chested back to him by Livramento. He gets to the byline, gets a cross in, good header away by Gatti. And now Duda, around 30 yards from goal. Out to Tchatchoua on the right flank now. He gets one into the back post, good ball in, but Gatti wins the header well. Livramento and Lazovic waiting. And flicked out of play in the end by Cambiasso. Lazovic take a throw. And there to Mosquera, who maybe got a little nudge in the back from Gatti, but that's a little bit of dark arts there from the Juve captain, caused the Colombian forward to miss control. Goal kick. And well, this first half really couldn't have gone much better for Thiago Motta and Juventus. Goals from Duda and Vlahovic, and a goal in his first start for young Nicolo Savona. His first Juventus senior goal. There's the difference between these sides. The man taking the goal kick here, Michele Di Gregorio. Clean sheet last week in his Juve debut, and he has been largely a passenger this evening. There's a poor touch from Cabal. He's going to invite Suslov forward now. Suslov pushing the penalty on the right hand side for Mosquera. Will he get a chance here? Good block by Bremer, and Mosquera falls over there. He and Cabal, two Colombians coming together, but nothing doing. This is Antonio Jua. Comes back into the danger zone, but Cabal has picked himself up and will clear. Mbangula down the left flank, who has had a quiet evening but set up that goal for Savona. As a throw in to Hellas Verona. I think that certainly was more of a coming together of bodies between Mosquera and his countryman Cabal than anything else, but certainly was enough to get the home crowd off their feet and claiming to the referee. And now signals for Jackson Tchatchoua to get us back underway with a throw in midway inside the Juventus half on the right, which he does. It's now with Reda Belahyane on the left touchline for Giangiacomo Magnani, a wonderfully Italian name. To Coppola. His long ball forward though is intercepted by Cabal. That's a poor header from him, and then when the ball's getting altitude sickness, Coppola sends it skyward, but brought down by Mbangula, and now Vlahovic back in the centre circle. Good challenge by Tomas Suslov, and he holds off Vlahovic, and now away come Verona down the left, but well read by Savona. He's really full of confidence now. He goes down the right, As Cambiaso, lucky break, gets it to Vlahovic in the right hand corner of the penalty area. He's massively outnumbered, but he almost finds Zimbangula. Cleared by Tchatchoua. Locatelli will go back to near the halfway line to collect. Duhan Vlahovic, it must be about 6 Hellas Verona defenders to 1 in the box, and he still nearly picked out a man at the back post. Into the last minute of the 45, we'll see shortly what sort of added time we'll have here, but it is Hellas Verona 0, Juventus 2. Gatti now. Bremer to Cabal. Locatelli on the left flank, back into zone half 4, Juan Cabal. Much of Juventus' shopping this summer was done within the league. And we have heard from Kefren Turam, Di Gregorio and Cabal among others. We did also bring in Douglas Luiz from Aston Villa. He's on the bench this evening, and also did some business the other way with the Villains. Enzo Barrenechea, the Argentinian midfielder, and the young English forward Samuel Ling Jr., both off to Villa Park, and moves that rumoured to have netted Juve around €22 million, which they almost recouped the fee for Douglas Luiz. Recouped half of it. He was their big man, signing €50 million. Kefren Turam for 20 and Cabal for 12. As they brought in Nico Gonzalez on loan. Di Gregorio also on loan. Pierre Kalulu on loan from Milan. He's on the bench too. And just bring in some youngsters up from the youth side. Savona, one of them, scoring his first Juve goals. We're into 3 minutes out of time here. Another one, Jonas Rui, is on the bench this evening. A fairly light looking Juve bench, it must be said. A bench that only contains 6 outfield players and 2 goalkeepers, including the 2 Brazilians, Danilo, Douglas Luiz, Pierre Kalulu, Weston McKennie, and the aforementioned Rui, as well as the young forward Coutinho, Lorenzo and Michele. Let's see if any of them are called upon this evening, as Juventus will be just looking to ride out the clock here in stoppage time. It's been an excellent first half for them. Hellas Verona have had their fair share of the ball, but have done next to nothing with it, while Juventus, well, they have been clinical as always. Duhan Vlahovic with the first, and Nicolo Savona with the second, after having one correctly ruled out for offside earlier in the half. Savona takes the throw in on the halfway line, goes back to his captain Federico Gatti. And Bremer. Gatti back to Bremer. And Cabal on the left flank. He's been solid in his return to the Bentegodi here this evening. Here's Coppola for Hellas Verona. Magnani on the left flank on halfway. Frese a check with his watch, not quite there yet. There's Duda, one last chance for an attack for Verona. Can they even get something back here? Tchatchoua's into the box, still going Jackson. Tchatchoua cuts it back, but it's cleared away by Juventus. Nobody in dark blue can get on the end of it. Duda. Ball in, away again by Cabal. And here come Juventus and Bangula. Maybe they'll get the last attack of the first half. Maybe not too fussed, as Fagioli will just roll the Locatelli, and they'll see out the last couple of seconds here. Gatti has it, and that is indeed half time here at the Stadion Marcantonoi Bentegodi, and it is Hellas Verona 0, Juventus 2. A superb first half from the Bianconeri. Duhan Vlahovic with the opener after young Nicolo Savona had an effort ruled out for offside. However, the 19 That's Verona now kicking from left to right in all dark blue with yellow collar on the shirt and yellow pinstripe. Juventus in there, a banana yellow chain strip with flashes of navy blue, white and pink on it. Quite the colour scheme, not the usual black and white stripes that we're used to seeing here. Okay, now of course this summer transfer window, I saw Michael Lorenzo, who spent last season on loan here with Verona, make it into the Italy Euro 2024 squad, the first Hellas Verona player to ever play for Italy at the Euros, ever play for any team at the Euros, and the first Hellas Verona player to get a call up to Italy's squad for a major tournament since the trio of Roberto Cecchella, Antonio Di Gennaro and Giuseppe Calderisi back in 1986. So quite incredible for him and for the club. However, understandably, Napoli chose not to extend his loan here. He's back working with Antonio Conte. Otherwise, that man who's about to take the throw-in, Juan Cabal, was their biggest exit, €12.5 million move to Juve. Also lost Tijani Noslin to Lazio. Yeah, that was their biggest exits of the summer. They have made some signings. Suat Serdar on the bench this evening from Hertha Berlin. Jackson Tchatchoua from Charleroi. And the goal scorers from last week, Daniel Mosquera from America in Colombia. And Dailon Livramento from Maastricht in the Dutch First Division. So some excellent scouting, certainly here at Hellas Verona. There's a strong challenge from the captain Darko Lazovic on Kenan Yildiz. Juventus win it back. No changes to the lineups I'm aware of at half time, which means Hellas Verona as follows. They've Lorenzo Montipo in goal. Across the back, Jackson Tchatchoua, Pawel, Dawidowicz, Diego Coppola and Giangiacomo Magnani. Midfielders Ondrej, Duda, Reda, Belahyane, Tomas, Suslov and Darko Lazovic with Dailon Livramento and Daniel Mosquera up front. For Juventus, it's Michele Di Gregorio in goal. Back four of goal scorer Nicolo Savona, Bremer, the captain Federico Gatti and Juan Cabal. Midfielders Manuel Locatelli, Nicolo Fagioli and Andrea Cambiaso. The front three then of Samuel Mbangula, Kenan Yildiz and Duhan Vlahovic, another goal scorer. Excuse me, but the ball is overhit out onto the left flank there for Yildiz, so Mosquera has ball in hand here. And I'll leave it to Jackson Tchatchoua to take. These sides did draw 2-2 here back in February. The game was a back and forward affair. Lorenzo and Noslin, the two that I mentioned, had Verona 1-0, then 2-1 up with goals from Duhan Vlahovic, and they now departed Adrian Rabiot. Levelled twice for Juve that day. Federico Chiesa has not been in a Juve squad since returning from the Euros, worth noting. Rumours of him also potentially going to Aston Villa, the two of them doing some business this year, but nothing confirmed as of yet. He's not mentioned in any injury lists or anything like that. It's clearly a decision from Thiago Motta not to include him, which would lead you to believe that he will be out before the transfer window closes at the end of this week. And all of the squads end up set for until January at least. There's a ball back with Di Gregorio in all green, the goalkeeper who's in on loan from Monza. Ooh, that's risky from Cabal, but Bremer bails him out. Not a great clearance though, and Cabal though leaps high up over Dawidowicz, and now here come Juve with Juan Cabal down the left now in Bangula. He's in approaching the penalty area for Juventus here, faced up by Tchatchoua. He's going to try and go past him, and Bangula, good challenge by Jackson Tchatchoua. And the last touch did indeed come off Juve's Belgian forward, and that's excellent defensive work from the Cameroonian there. And that's a goal kick to Hellas Verona when Bangula got his first, another of these youngsters who got his chance last week. That's a risky challenge in the end, you see there from Tchatchoua. He slid in and he didn't really make contact with Bangula, but he certainly didn't make contact with the ball. And I wonder, is the referee going to have a look at this challenge actually? He is, and he's pointed at a spot. It's a penalty kick to Juventus after all of that. Jackson Tchatchoua cautioned, and Duhan Vlahovic now has a chance to hit a penalty for Juventus for his second and Juve's third. A foul by Jackson Tchatchoua on Samuel Bangula. And now Duhan Vlahovic has a chance to surely put this game well beyond the hosts here on 52 minutes. It's Vlahovic versus Montipo. It's going to be a left foot, you'd imagine, here for the big Serbian. He's already got one today. Can he make it 3-0 his second? He stutters, he runs up, down the middle, 3-0 to Juventus, and that's surely game, set and match here now. Initially, I think the referee pointed for a goal kick for Tchatchoua's challenge on Bangula, but it became quite clear that he had not made contact with the ball, and the referee and the VAR team decided there was enough contact with the player to award a penalty easily finished by Duhan Vlahovic, who roars in front of the travelling Juventus fans. Stuttering run up. Montipo dives to the right, and Vlahovic just strokes it, well, slightly to the keeper's left, but more pretty much straight down the middle. And it's now Hellas Verona 0, Juventus 3. And for the second time as many games this season, Thiago Motta's Juve score 3. They haven't conceded one yet. And they'll be hoping to keep it that way, but Duhan Vlahovic didn't get on the score sheet last week. He's got 2 of the 3 goals today. And, well, what was already a steep hill to climb at half-time, now less than 10 minutes into the second half, is a mountain for Paolo Zanetti's men who, well, they won 3-0 on opening weekend. Now they find themselves 3-0 down. They'll be hoping that's not a sign to come of the inconsistencies, but given the difficult start they've had, I mean, if you'd offered them 3 points, I think, out of the 2 games, they probably would have taken it, but just disappointingly not to follow up that excellent victory over Antonio Conte's Napoli last week with a better performance today. And it looks as though it's going to be Juve's night, barring anything crazy late on here. And Juventus certainly didn't have things easy against Hellas Verona last season. The 2-2 draw here in February, as I mentioned, they did beat them at home in October last year, but only by a score of 1-0. So certainly enjoying themselves more. Here's Bangula taking on Tchatchoua again here, overlapping around from Cabal into the box, good block there, and hooked away by Tchatchoua. Mosquera trying to hold off Bremer, one back by Bremer, and Bangula can't keep it in, so it's a throw in to Hellas Verona on their right hand side, midway inside their own half. And there's a yellow card there in the build up to the penalty that we missed for Ondrej Duda for having too much to say to our referee Antonio Jua. There's always going to be a risky challenge from Jackson Tchatchoua, and so it turned out to be. There's going to be a sub here now, for 2 subs actually for Verona. A double change coming up here now. First sub is going to see the man in on loan from Benfica, Kasper Tengstedt. So there's going to be a triple sub, in fact. It's going to be Dailon, Livramento, Daniel Mosquera, and Giangiacomo Manieri. They're all going off here. And coming on then are Faride Alidou, Martin Frese, and the Benfica loanee Kasper Tengstedt, to see if they can do anything about this, but you can't have a feeling that it's too little too late for Paolo Zanetti. Here's Lazovic. Frese brought in from Michele, looking for Alidou. Well read by Gatti, and lovely footwork from the captain. He's actually going to continue his run forward, the centre half, begging for somebody to give it to him, but instead they go to his centre half partner Bremer. Now here's Cabal, and Gatti reluctantly trots back to his position, and nobody passed to him. And here's Nicolo Savona, who has had a superb debut for start, should I say, scoring the goal, and he's been rock solid at right back all evening. There's Tengstedt coming deep for that one, well, challenging him by Gatti. There's Belahyane, risky one to Dawidowicz, with Mangula lurking, but we'll go back to Montipo. Booms one forward. Gatti sends it back with a flex of his neck muscles there. Coppola now to Frese, the Danish left back. This is Lazovic to Duda. Suslov make a run down the middle, but he'll hunt for his man out on the right. And that's a good challenge there in the end. It was Tchatchoua. And then away by Bremer, but it's one back, almost into the path of Tengstedt, and Bangula and Coppola both going for the same ball there. And right for a throw in. We approach the hour mark here at the Stadion Marcantonoi Bentegodi. I'm Mark Strange here, guiding me through. Hellas Verona 0, Juventus 3. A very professional, clinical performance from Thiago Motta's side. Taking over after 11 years of Massimiliano Allegri. I'm feeling things are perhaps getting a little bit stale at the end of his tenure, but winning 3-0 on opening day and now 3-0 up after an hour here. You certainly can't be accused of lacking ambition, can the Bianconeri. Here's Yildiz on the left flank for Bangula. Nice work there from Fagioli. Cuts on his right, hits one deflected away by Frese and Belahyane, and they do eventually clear, not very comfortably. They're sent back from Bremer, and a good challenge from Locatelli wins it back off Tengstedt. And here's Cabal. Inside his own half, rolls it out left to Bremer. He'll stretch the legs. Good challenge there though by Coppola, but it'll come back to Locatelli, who sends a quarterback style pass now onto the right flank for Cambiasso, who's going to keep it in. Nice work from him. Not in a great hurry, goes back to Savona. And he in even less of a hurry will go back again to Gatti. Locatelli 1-2 with Gatti. Juventus are just, I think they're just enjoying almost like a lion, just sort of toying with their prey here. And then striking. And they feel that prey is suitably tired. Alidou the sub chasing down Locatelli, but we come to Gatti and back to Locatelli. He and Gatti almost switching positions there between midfield and centre half. Now here's Fagioli, left touchdown in front of Paolo Zanetti. Clips a lovely ball forward to Yildiz into the box on the left hand side. Yildiz hits one and is saved by Lorenzo Montipo. Yildiz is claiming another penalty but nothing doing. A bad effort, but fairly straight down the throat of Lorenzo Montipo. There's a foul there on Suslov from Fagioli. We've played an hour here now, and this yet to move to their bench, though as I mentioned earlier it's a pretty sparse looking bench with all their injuries, unavailabilities. There's Pavel Dawidowicz, the centre half, playing with socks around his ankles, but somehow still managing to fit a pair of shin guards in there. They must be very small little shin guards. Gone are the days of the full wrap around shin guards and down around the ankle and all sorts. It's Less restriction on the legs, the better. There's a nice ball tipped out there from Suslov out to Tchatchoua, who had a decent first half, but didn't really do much for himself with the clumsy sliding tackle in Bangula. Duda. On the right flank again for Tchatchoua. 9 plays, 18-yard ball, whips one in. Gregorio is going to come for it, but doesn't even have to. It'll go over his head, and Verona is happy to let it run out for a goal kick as well. Well, we still have half an hour to go, but already you can kind of sense this game is starting to peter out for Hellas Verona. Bremer, Juventus, back in the Champions League this year after missing Europe completely last year. Because they were going to be in the Conference League after their 7th place finish in 22-23 season, but financial irregularities meant that UEFA didn't allow them into Europe. But a 3rd place finish last year gets them back into Europe, and they'll be hoping to go deep in Europe, but also they'll be hoping to start challenging for a Scudetto again. Of course, the 2010s era of Juventus was title after title. There's a good ball in over the top, but Gregorio will come for it. But there's been cupboards, certainly for league titles, have been there for Juve since 2020. Of course, they won all the league titles between 2012 and 2020. Under Massimiliano Allegri, who after a 2-year hiatus returned in 2021, but actually last season. We're going to see another sub here for, and that's for us, with the captain Darko Lazovic, who's off after 63 minutes. And he's being replaced now by another one of the new signings, the Algerian Abdou Harawi, who arrived from relegated Frosinone. And here come Juve. Good challenge there from Coppola on Mbangula. Duda, and he's pulled back by Cambiaso. That's Verona, I think, looking for a card, or at least a talking to for Cambiaso for Antonio Jua. None such thing forthcoming. It's a good run forward from Livan Harawi. Frese now with the throw-in. In the corner is Harawi. He gets the ball in, but Locatelli gets there before Belahyane and booms it forward down to Coppola. Going to see a Juventus sub here now as well. Can't quite make out the number on the back of the shirt, but we'll see it very soon now, I'd imagine, as Tengstedt goes to ground on a challenge from Locatelli, and I don't think there's going to be anything coming off that one for the Danish forward. The man we saw down there, I think maybe Douglas Luiz, the Brazilian international brought in from Aston Villa. We will see very shortly. I think first of all we are going to get this. That's been given as a free kick, that one from Locatelli on Tengstedt. It's going to be the Slovakian duo here of Suslov and Duda to take. We left now for Suslov as Duda disappears. We had left-footed delivery here. In dark blue, the M4 whips one into the front post. Ooh, trying to catch out Di Gregorio in the end. It's Vlahovic back doing the defensive duties there. You see what he's trying to do there, Tomas Suslov. Corner now be taken right footed out swinger from Duda. Easy pickings that time from Vlahovic, who does more good defensive work. I know, poor from Suslov, good away from Bangula, who in turn gives it away again himself. And advantage played now as Verona come forward. Frese, the ball in looking for how they do, but it's over the top of everybody, and away come Juventus down the left flank with Yildiz, but he's in no hurry to get forward, and instead of playing field Locatelli. Fugatti. Bremer, a bit of a heavy touch, but he recovers. Now Cabal. Locatelli will come forward. Over halfway, Manuel Locatelli, as Dawidowicz still patiently waits for his arrival. Came off the bench last week against Como. 79 minutes, but he's going to get even longer today. And he's still not coming on. We're quite happy to keep playing here, Juve. There's Duda, right corner of the penalty area. Tries to get one in, blocked by Bremer out for a throw in, and that may well be time for Dawidowicz to enter. Is indeed, and he's going to replace Samuel Bangula. We're on 68 minutes. Good evening's work game from the Belgian. No goals this time, but an assist for the second goal, and he won the penalty for the third, so a good evening's work for Samuel Bangula, and he gets an embrace from his manager Thiago Motta on the way off, and it's the Brazilian Dawidowicz who is on. We're on 68 minutes, and the scoreline is Verona 0, Juventus 3. There's Frese trying to get forward here for Verona. It's with Harawi midway inside the Juventus half. Duda, Dawidowicz, on the right for Tchatchoua. Dawidowicz, Duda, flanked by Fagioli. Harawi, Tchatchoua, right hand side, midway inside the Juventus half. Even goal now for the last 20 minutes to reduce it to 2 might well make things interesting. And indeed, Tchatchoua's got in behind, but he slips and he tries to get the cross in. And that goes into the side netting of Michele Di Gregorio's goal, who, well, in his first 70 minutes could scarcely have had a quieter 70 minutes. He'll be hoping for more to see him this season. The defence in front of him has been rock solid, and Verona really have not done enough really to even come close to making life difficult for them as we get to the cooling break here at the Stadion Marcantonoi Bentegodi. It is Verona 0, Juventus 3, a double from Duhan Vlahovic, and the first Juventus goal on his first start from Nicolo Savona. It's the difference between the sides here, and truthfully, Verona really have not offered enough going forward. These subs from Paolo Zanetti, hopefully he's hoping they can make an impact, but you might fear it's a little too late, as Thiago Motta still gets some of his tactical instructions across to his side. He'll be very suave, all suited and booted, the former Italy international midfielder who guided Bologna into the Champions League last season. They'll be embarking on a first ever Champions League campaign this year. They'll be doing it without the man who got them there. He'll be taking Juventus into the Champions League. And then Juve back where they belong this year. The final round of Champions League qualifying, for that matter. And they're tomorrow night and Wednesday night with the draw for the group stages scheduled for later this week. So the Champions League, it's not so much a group stage draw. The old habits die hard there. Group stages are gone. The new Champions League phase now running until the end of January. And that league phase draw will be made on Thursday this week, so only a couple more days to wait for some of the bigger clubs to see who's going to join them in the league stage of the Champions League. Teams will now play 8 games in the group/league stage instead of 6 as it was. Used to be the group stages are wrapped up by Christmas time, but not so this year. We're running till the end of January, just adding to this debate over overworking of footballers. There's Locatelli now in behind for Douglas Luiz. Holds off Belahyane well, he's into the left corner. Lovely footwork Yildiz, but he's stuck in the corner, does an excellent job of winning a throw-in. Surely, yet he does. Good work there in that corner between Douglas Luiz and Yildiz. The Juve fans high up away in that corner. Pawel will take that throw in. And we go all the way back to Di Gregorio, maybe just trying to get their goalkeeper something to do here, Juventus, because he has not been challenged anywhere near enough. Back with him again is all green. Michele Di Gregorio, that's a poor pass, so he picks out Paolo Zanetti on the touchline. Tomas Suslov is surely guilty of stealing a few yards there, but he negates that by going back to Pawel Dawidowicz on halfway. And in turn rolls it inside. It's Frese. Tankstead midway inside the Juventus half. And left for Ali. Leaves it for Suslov. For Belahyane. Tankstead, good sliding challenge there from Fagioli, and invited that one on. We're in the last quarter of an hour here in Verona. Match day 2 Serie action. Well, that sums up Verona's night. 2 subs, Harawi and Frese there, just a bit of miscommunication. And a bit of heard a loud crash there. I apologise, lost my headphones there, but we're back. It's now Coppola over halfway out of the right touchline now for Tchatchoua. It's out for a throw-in on the left-hand side to Juventus. We're going to see a sub-board go up here. Not sure for who just yet. Fourth official in Italy, as so always are. They're not in the referee's kit. They're in their full suit down there. As Verona have just 1 sub left to use. Juventus still have 4 remaining. They've only made 1 sub. Back with Gatti, who was out onto the right touchline. Savona, who goes back to Di Gregorio. Now Locatelli midway inside his own half. It's Cabal. Douglas Luiz midway inside the Verona half now, and he's robbed nicely by Suslov, and I'll go back to Montipo. Put away by Cabal. Locatelli gives it away, looking for Yildiz, and now all of a sudden here's Harawi. 3-on-3. Harawi getting the better of Bremer, but Bremer did well to recover. Forced him wide, and Harawi could only slide it into the side netting of Michele Di Gregorio's goal. Half chance there for Hellas Verona. Can't be too harsh on Harawi there. There's going to be a double sub here for Juventus. And we're going to see the man on loan from Milan, Pierre Kalulu. So we had a change at fullbacks. So Juan Cabal is off. And Nicolo Savona, what a first start for Juve for Savona. Scoring his first goal on his first start. He's off, as is Cabal. Pierre Kalulu is on, as is young Jonas Rui, the Swedish fullback. So another youngster on here for Thiago Motta's men, as Di Gregorio sends the goal kick up long. Headed away by Coppola. Douglas Luiz, the Yildiz. Douglas Luiz, lovely touch from Locatelli, a bit too long for Yildiz, out for a throw, but that gets a round of applause from his manager. Juventus led this game 2-0 at half time, goals from Duhan Vlahovic, and that first goal on his first start for Juve for Nicolo Savona, and then a penalty from Vlahovic in the second half really just took all the air out of Hellas Verona, and less than 10 minutes into the second half, any hope of a comeback really were extinguished with it, as Rui takes it off Tanksted's toes. There's Douglas Luiz, stumbling, bumbling, and in the end gives it away to Coppola. There's Belahyane. Duda in the centre circle, rolls it out left to Frese. Alidou on the left flank, midway inside the Juve half, rolls it back in field. Belahyane, Dawidowicz is waving at him, but Belahyane ignores him. Goes back out left to Frese. Harawi. Duda, midway inside the Juve half still, not really making much ground here, and that's a good block in the end from Douglas Luiz, and Juve will come away with it. Yildiz, over Vlahovic on a hat-trick, but Yildiz is... did he get his foot maybe caught in the ground there as he tried to play that pass? It was a strange looking ball, and he's gone down limping, but he's back on his feet, but not looking overly happy. Kenan Yildiz, we'll keep an eye on him. Here's Tankstead into the corner now, followed in there by Rui. Back to Dawidowicz, who scoops it across, and Federico Gatti volleys it behind for a corner. He didn't have to, there's nobody in blue behind him, and his goalkeeper would have come for it, but maybe couldn't hear him, or lack of communications. The corner to Hellas Verona. Get another look here. This one from Kenan Yildiz. Yeah, whatever way he tried to play that pass, he tried to stab it forward and ended up sort of catching his studs in the turf. Hopefully he's okay. He seems to be. It's a corner here for Hellas Verona, taken by Ondrej Duda, a left-footed in swinger from the Slovakian international. And it comes. Di Gregorio comes and claims confidently. No questions of a punch or a flail at that one. The big blonde-haired goalkeeper came and he commanded his penalty area. Here's Locatelli to Rui, young Swede. Back to Locatelli inside their own half here, Juventus. Fagioli. Read there by Frese. Rob Douglas Luiz. Now away comes Harawi. Suslov to Harawi, still going. Harawi, good block by Kalulu, the new man just off the bench. And now Rui, the other man who's come on. He'll scoop it forward with his left foot. Read by Coppola before Vlahovic. It's a throw in to Juventus. Less than 10 minutes to go. That throw in just in front of Paolo Zanetti in the Hellas Verona technical area. Locatelli now wins the free kick and takes it quickly. Looks for Vlahovic, who's got the better of Frese. Good work from the Dane, though. He stays with it, and Vlahovic has foiled him. Not too sure about that one. I want to be look like just he was a little bit stronger doing Vlahovic, but not so. Up next for Juventus, well, it's a big one. Next Sunday evening, they host Roma, the Allianz Stadium. So perhaps some of those subs made by Thiago Motta with that game in mind. For Hellas Verona, well, I think a trip to Genoa coming up next Sunday as well. So a tough one for them too, but every game in Serie A is tough. Here's Harawi. Belahyane, Duda, Harawi, back to Belahyane. Ondrej Duda, around 30 yards out central. Alidou gets the ball in there. Ooh, almost finds Suslov away by who's gotten us. Locatelli back there in the end, getting rid. So Tankstead chases that one in the corner, goes back to Alidou. Along the edge of the box to Harawi, who holds on to Belahyane. First place to stay in possession a while for Hellas Verona. Oh, and Rui slipped. And that's allowed Tchatchoua in behind. Oh, good save by Di Gregorio from Tankstead. That's the first real good save that he's had to make. It's taken 83 minutes. Tchatchoua got in behind there from Jonas Rui slipping. And he got it back to Kasper Tankstead with a first time effort. Saved well by Di Gregorio. Now in behind here is Harawi. A sliding challenge by Fagioli. Now it's going to be a corner to Hellas Verona. So Michele Di Gregorio been chronically underworked tonight, but he was alert to that one. First time effort from Kasper Tankstedt. Forlorn arms in the air from Paolo Zanetti there. Corner taken here by Alidou. Footer whips it in and Di Gregorio punches that one. Long way away, Duda back out to Alidou, left hand side. Faced up out there by Douglas Luiz. And the Brazilian having a couple of digs at him, and in the end it goes out for a throw in. Left hand side, midway inside the Juventus half. It's going to be slowed down for a change. The first one is going to see the captain, Federico Gatti, removed for Danilo, the Brazilian centre half, and it's just a straight swap at the back there. And we're going to see the Juventus senior debut here for Lorenzo Angeli. Danilo will take the armband off of Gatti immediately and slot into centre half, and Andrea Cambiaso takes in the applause from the Juventus fans. Good evening for him, and gives young Lorenzo Angeli a kiss to welcome him into senior football for Juventus for these last 5 minutes here. He played in the under 19 Euros this summer for Italy. Played a few minutes on Friday evening, in fact, for Juventus reserves in their 4-3 defeat to Audace Cerignola. Lorenzo Angeli is on, and there's also been a final sub here for Hellas Verona, two in the middle of that there that I missed. Apologies, Ondrej Duda is off. And he's replaced by Dani Silva in midfield. So both sides now used up all of their subs. Jelly up there partnering Duhan Vlahovic for his last few minutes. There's Silva, the new man on for Verona. Tankstead. Ball in looking for Suslov, but Locatelli will just bump him off, no problem, and the ball will run through to Michele Di Gregorio. Well, we're 4 minutes away from back-to-back 3-0 wins to open the season for Thiago Motta's Juventus. The Thiago Motta era can scarcely have started any better, although you have to think that next Sunday's visit of Roma will be the first one that they've really going to test them. It's Fagioli now on the edge of his box, but they'll be going into that with some confidence. Meanwhile, Roma, as I mentioned yesterday, defeated 2-1 by Empoli at home. So perhaps they'll be stung into life. Now here's Locatelli to Fagioli. Rui. Fagioli again, centre circle. There's Angeli. Lays it off to Locatelli. And a ball forward for Yildiz, but Montipo is out quickly. It's Jackson Tchatchoua to Coppola. And this pass to Ali runs out of play on halfway line on the right hand side for throw in Juventus, and just about sums up how that's for his name, Pierre Kalulu. On loan from Milan, the defender. And here's Angeli, who'd broken away. Down the line for Kalulu. Tried to get the cross in, but was well marshalled by Alidou. It's back to Fagioli. And away by Suslov, one for Tankstead with chase, but nicely done by Rui to go back to his goalkeeper, to Gregorio, who rolls it straight out to Bremer. There's Locatelli. Douglas Luiz. Locatelli. Bremer to Danilo, the two Brazilians. It looks like it's a back three now for Juve with wing backs. Locatelli dropping into the back three with Kalulu and Rui. And as the wing backs, Thiago Motta. His face isn't showing it right now. Will be delighted with his side's exploits here in northwest Italy in Verona. And Jelly drops deep to get that throw in from Kalulu. Comes out on the left for Yildiz, who's had a busy, bright evening. Back to Rui. And Locatelli, who he really is just like a metronome in this Juventus team. Manuel Locatelli. You may remember not that long ago, a man by the name of Claudio Marchisio in the Juventus midfield. Manuel Locatelli very much cut from that same sort of mould, and that he is just everything Juventus do goes through him. He's just a calming presence in the midfield, and has been again tonight. Here's Kalulu to Fagioli, and now Douglas Luiz. We'll see very shortly what added time we'll have here into the last minute of the 90. Yildiz on the left flank inside to Fagioli. Locatelli and Juventus seem fairly content to hold on for a second 3-0 win in a row to start this season. Locatelli beats Belahyane to the ball, and here's Silva for Verona. 4 added minutes here. Into those now. There's Harawi on halfway. Looking for options, isn't really any, so he goes to Coppola. And now Dawidowicz. Tchatchoua, who has been busy tonight. Tries to get a better Rui. Does so, but did he keep it in? No, he slips and out for a throw in. Juventus on the left hand side, just in line with the edge of their 18-yard box. Douglas Luiz manages to play his way into trouble. And looks up for his options ahead of him. Being hustled by Suslov, and turns nicely away from Arawi. Almost give that away to Tankstead, but Danilo will mop up for him on the right hand side, just on halfway. to Locatelli. And Rui at left back. Really promising for Juventus. Just the youth in this side is, well, partly forced, I understand, with injuries, but some superb youngsters coming through. Here's Kalulu getting forward here into the box. He's going for 4. Good challenge on him, and Alidou will clear. As Pierre Kalulu ended up just being squeezed out there slightly. Danilo back to Kalulu. Danilo miscontrols, but he's still going to try and fight for it. Belahyane, Dawidowicz, robbed by Fagioli, but away by Belahyane, not very far. Douglas Luiz, a bit of a scrappy ending to this game. Rui now on the left hand side, midway inside the Verona half. The yield is Rui. Locatelli. It's one touch passing Juventus, Douglas Luiz, Fagioli. Yield is, and in the end, that doesn't quite match the run of Jonas Rui. There's Danny Silva to Harawi. Good challenge from Bremer. That's about as good as they come. Yield is, we'll go back to Di Gregorio. We're halfway through. We need 4 added on here. And Juventus look like they're about to walk their way to a second 3-0 win to open the season. Santiago Mora could ask for much more than that. Yield is. Back to Locatelli, he was back to Bremer, now Danilo on the edge of the box for Juventus. Sends on forward for Kalulu to chase. Coppola will hook it away though. They do jumps with Angeli, and it's out for a throw-in to Hellas Verona. And there's a loose pass in the goalkeeper Montipo, but Dawidowicz keeps it in. There's still time for a fourth here, Juventus. They're hassling like they want one. Dawidowicz with a strange cross-field ball. And Tesla. Silva, now the last minute here. And they're still chasing Duda. Vlahovic chasing right to the very last second here. Dawidowicz. Down the flank looking for Tangstedt, but out for a throw-in. Which Manuel Locatelli will leave for Jonas Rui in front of Paolo Zanetti, who's now seen his side win 3-0 and lose 3-0 to open the season. Well, that just about sums up how their season went last year, so he'll be hoping for a bit more consistency, but as I said at the start of this one, if you'd offered him 3 points in these opening 2 games, he'd have taken it. And that's a bit of a nasty one from Suslov there on Yield is nearly the end of the game. He's left one in on Yield is. That's going to be the last play though, and it's finished here at the Stadion Marcantonoi Bentegodi. Hellas Verona 0, Juventus 3, a double from Duda Vlahovic, which sandwiched a